Earlier this year, I made an episode about how Cathie Wood prepares for a crash. It was called Cathie Wood Prepares for a Crash, and in that episode, I talked about some of the investing lessons that I've learned since I really started looking at ARK Invest's daily trading data, as well as how I used that data to build better investing habits for myself. I used to click every YouTube video mentioning an impending market crash and then panic sell great stocks at bargain basement prices. I was that guy. Oof. Also in that episode, I shared something I call the Cathie indicator. Since then, that indicator has helped me decide when to invest aggressively, such as in the middle of May, after ARK Invest's funds dropped by double digits in a matter of days. Doing that made me pretty happy when ARK Invest's funds rebounded by double digits in just a few weeks after that. Well, guess what? This Cathie indicator just flipped again. So, I put the word urgent in the title because I really do feel that this information is time sensitive. In this episode, I'll go over exactly what this indicator is, what's going on in ARK Invest's funds right now that caused me to make this episode, and how you can track this indicator for yourself if you're interested in doing so. Let me set the stage with this quick clip of Cathie Wood on CNBC's halftime report from earlier this year, where she talks about what she does with the holdings inside ARK Invest's funds during a market crash or a deep correction.
What we've been doing for the last 6 months is expanding the number of names in our portfolio. And we do that as a bull market extends because in some ways it's a tax efficient strategy. What we will do during a correction, especially a severe correction, we will sell names in which are creating losses now because, again, we've bought them, we've diversified and bought them more recently. Sell those names, creating losses, to buy our highest conviction names. Some of the names we've been moving into, you'll notice, some of the bigger biotech names. And what we will do we think of them as cash-like. So we're using them as cash-like instruments in some way because we will move back into our pure play names if we get into a severe correction. So we use corrections toggling back and forth. And so right now, our flagship portfolio has roughly 52 names in it. At the low point in the coronavirus last year, it was as low as 33, I believe.
Okay, so let me unpack that clip. Cathie Wood uses big, stable companies as cash-like positions because she can't hold a lot of actual cash inside ARK Invest's funds. Most of her funds have much less than 1% cash at any given time. Cathie Wood will sell out of these cash-like positions even at a loss when she feels that her highest conviction stocks are trading at a steep discount, like during a market correction or a crash. In that clip, she was talking about big biotech companies, but each ARK Invest fund has these cash-like positions inside them. For example, Cathie Wood held $75 million of Apple inside ARKF, ARK Invest's FinTech Innovation Fund, until the start of May. By May 18th, Cathie Wood had dropped Apple completely. Why this sudden drop? Well, if we go look at the price action for some of ARK Invest's biggest positions around the middle of May, guess what we find? Everything from Tesla and Teladoc to Palantir and UiPath was trading at a steep discount. In fact, if we zoom out and look at all of ARK Invest's funds from around that same time frame, we can see that pretty much everything Cathie Wood invests in was way down in price as well. And, as you can see, things didn't stay down for very long, hence the urgency. Now let's talk about the Cathie indicator during that same time frame. All the Cathie indicator measures is the number of stocks inside each ARK Invest fund over time. In that clip, Cathie Wood said that ARKK had as little as 33 stocks in it during the lows of March in 2020. For comparison, in the beginning of May of this year, ARKK had almost 60 stocks in it. Then in the middle of May, when everything started to crash, Cathie Wood did exactly what she said in that clip. She sold her cash-like positions to buy up her highest conviction holdings at bargain basement prices, which shows up in this Cathie indicator plot as sharp declines in the number of holdings in each fund. If you go look at my videos from back in June, which is when these stock prices started moving back up and the Cathie indicator leveled off, I spent all of my time talking about the patterns that I was seeing in ARK Invest's trading data, as well as putting out deep dives on many of the stocks that I saw Cathie Wood buying up, like Teladoc, UiPath, Palantir, and DraftKings. Most of those stocks are still among ARK Invest's biggest positions today, so I'm putting together a playlist of those deep dives for you now. If you're interested in that, I'll leave a link to it in the top right-hand corner of your screen and in the description below as well. And if you look at what the Cathie indicator is doing now, you can see that all 6 of ARK Invest's funds have been concentrating down again since the start of this month. So, if I look at what Cathie Wood has been buying in each fund over the same time frame, I can be pretty confident that what I'm looking at is ARK Invest's highest conviction plays, since those are the stocks that Cathie Wood is spending her cash-like positions on right now. Pretty cool, right? So here's ARK Invest's most recent trading data. Each row in these tables is one stock. The rows are ordered by the size of ARK Invest's position in that stock, and they're colored by the change in that position since the start of the month compared to how their overall assets under management have changed. Since their AUM is down by about 5% since the start of September, positions that shrank by more than 5% are in red, and positions that shrank by less or ended up growing are in green. We're looking for the darkest green rows. Also, note that the first column shows the percent change in shares that Cathie Wood is holding, while the third column shows the percent change in price, since both of those influence the total position size. Right now, we're looking at the data for all of the funds combined, but I'll also quickly go fund by fund. So, as ARK Invest funds are concentrating down, Cathie Wood is buying a lot of Invitae, ticker symbol NVTA, even though its price isn't really falling. Invitae is a genetic diagnostics company that offers gene panels and single gene testing for a broad range of clinical areas, including hereditary cancer, cardiology, neurology, pediatric genetics, metabolic disorders, and so on. So it's pretty core to ARKG, ARK Invest's Genomics Revolution Fund. Also, UiPath, ticker symbol PATH, fell about 15% in price since the start of the month, and Cathie Wood has bought about 15% more shares. So even though her billion-dollar position in UiPath is almost unchanged, she's actually holding a lot more Path stock. UiPath is a robotics process automation company focused on discovering and automating repetitive business processes in a wide variety of industries. It's also one of only 2 companies to be in all 6 of ARK Invest's funds, the other being Palantir, ticker symbol PLTR. You may also have noticed that Cathie Wood reduced her Tesla shares by close to 10%. Fun fact, every YouTuber making that face on their thumbnail is also making that exact sound as well. Cathie Wood sold 10% of her position in Tesla because one of the rules that she follows is to not have any one stock be over 10% of any fund by weight. Tesla is still the number 1 position in ARKK, ARKW, and ARKQ, and it's still currently over 10% of each of those funds, so this is a non-issue even though it looks like a big sale. The only other stock I'll call out before moving on to the individual funds is PagerDuty, ticker symbol PD. What's that? You don't know what a pager is?
Because he's a courteous guy, Joe's turning his cell phone off. Phil's leaving his on, which isn't going to win him any popularity contests. But Joe has SkyTel, so even when he turns his cell phone off, a SkyTel operator converts the caller's message to text and sends it right to his pager.
Innovation. PagerDuty is a software service platform that uses machine learning and automation to send and manage alerts and notification for customer service applications. They're actually built on top of Twilio, another of Cathie Wood's biggest holdings. ARK Invest's position in PagerDuty increased by over 13% as the stock dipped in the beginning of the month. And now the stock is about 4%, making PagerDuty ARK Invest's 30th biggest position overall, out of about 160. See? I knew pagers would never go out of style. Since your time is valuable, let me sort the rest of these tables by the biggest change in share count instead of the actual position size, since that will show us which stocks Cathie Wood is actually buying into. I already covered UiPath, PagerDuty, and Invitae, and you'll notice that the rest of these positions are much smaller and much lower ranked, so fair warning that these position sizes within each fund can change fairly quickly. Cathie Wood increased her combined share count by more than 20% in the following companies since the start of the month: Pfizer, ticker symbol PFE, Discovery, ticker symbol DSY, Workday, WDAY, Markforged, MKFG, and Komatsu, ticker symbol KMTUY. Here's the table one more time without highlights for those of you taking screenshots. I see you out there. Let's move on to each fund, starting with ARKK. The biggest changes in share count were in Signify Health, ticker symbol SGFY, UiPath, PATH, PagerDuty, PD, and Invitae, ticker symbol NVTA. That matches up with what I just showed you in ARK Invest's combined funds because ARKK is actually over $21 billion in assets under management, meaning it's bigger than all of Cathie Wood's other funds combined. So let's move on to ARKG, ARK Invest's fund themed around the genomic revolution. The biggest increases in share count here were in Pfizer, ticker symbol PFE, One Life Healthcare, ONEM, UiPath again, and Invitae again. This second row is actually cash, and you can see its rank in ARKG is 53, so it's actually one of the very smallest positions in the fund, even after this 40% increase. Next up, let's look at ARKW, ARK Invest's next generation internet fund. Cathie Wood has been investing aggressively in internet-based companies all year, so I'm not surprised to see way more dark green rows in ARKW than ARKG. Lots of stocks increasing by double digits here. Robinhood, ticker symbol HOOD, Roku, ROKU, Genius Sports, GENI, PagerDuty again, Kozla Ventures, KVSB, which is the SPAC that's bringing Nextdoor public. Nextdoor is a social network focused on local communities who help people who are physically close to each other connect. So it's like a social network for neighborhoods. Then below that, we have UiPath again, Zoom Video, ticker symbol ZM, and Splunk, ticker symbol SPLK. The next three funds, ARKF, ARKQ, and ARKX, are all much smaller than the three funds I just covered. So the combined ARK ranks of some of these holdings are going to be much smaller than in the previous three funds. Still, they're worth covering if you're looking for cool stocks in the fintech, automation, or aerospace areas, respectively. This is ARKF. ARKF's cash position is up almost 5x from 2 weeks ago as Cathie Wood continues to consolidate the fund down, and so far she's been spending that money on Discovery, DSY, Workday, WDAY, Farfetch, FTCH, and Etsy, ETSY. She's also buying the dip on StoneCo, ticker symbol STNE. I'm excited to see where some of this $18 million cash pile in ARKF ends up. Next, we have ARKQ, and we can see a similar trend. The cash pile almost doubled over the last 2 weeks, and so far it's been spent on Komatsu, KMTUY, Markforged, MKFG, Proto Labs, PRLB, Jaws Spitfire, SPFR, which is the SPAC bringing Velo 3D public. Velo 3D is a pretty cool, vertically integrated metal 3D printing company that prints parts for space rockets, jet engines, and fuel delivery systems. Deere, ticker symbol DE, and Blade Air Mobility, ticker symbol BLDE, also saw double-digit share count increases since the start of the month. Last and actually least, we have ARKX, ARK Invest's newest and smallest actively managed fund focused on space-based technologies and their beneficiaries. Markforged, Deere, Blade Air Mobility, Jaws Spitfire, and Komatsu and UiPath all show up here again, as well as Heiko, ticker symbol HEI, and AeroVironment, ticker symbol AVAV. Just to be cheeky, let me point out that even after these double-digit increases, almost all of the positions I just mentioned are still smaller than Netflix's position in this space exploration fund. Womp womp. All kidding aside, ARKX is a tiny fund compared to ARK Invest's other 5 funds. It has just $600 million in assets under management, meaning it's less than 1.5% of the almost $42 billion in combined assets that we've covered so far in this episode. Okay, thanks for sticking with me. That was a pretty fast play-by-play, but now you have the full context for the biggest increases in ARK Invest's holdings by share count when you combine these funds back together. So here's that table one more time. If you're looking for interesting genomics and healthcare plays, it's going to be Pfizer, One Life Healthcare, and Invitae. If you're looking for cool 3D printing companies, check out Markforged or Jaws Spitfire, which is Velo 3D. Some interesting fintech plays could be Discovery, Workday, or StoneCo. And if you're looking for cool stocks in the areas of aerospace, automation, or autonomous mobility, check out Heiko, Deere, Blade Air Mobility, Komatsu, or even AeroVironment. And if you want to know the highest conviction names that Cathie Wood keeps buying, it's going to be the positions with the highest combined rank. UiPath, Invitae, and PagerDuty are much higher ranking than the rest. Comment below or tweet me at ticker symbol U if any of the companies I just mentioned were already on your radar and which ones interest you the most. I read all of your comments and tweets, and usually we'll do a deep dive on a company if enough people request it. I really love this stuff. And of course, if you find this information useful, there are a few ways that you can track this for yourself. The easiest way is to like this video and subscribe to the channel with all notifications turned on. I'm not really trying to squeeze you here, but I already spend all of my time building these dashboards and looking at this stuff myself. So, if you do those things, you'll be the first to know when I see these time-sensitive trends and patterns emerge, and I make a video about it. That's the whole point, right? If you want to track these things for yourself without a YouTuber involved, no problem. You can go directly to www.ark-funds.com, download the holdings spreadsheets for yourself each day, count the number of holdings in each fund, and track the changes. ARK Invest makes their data publicly available and completely free, and I'll always support investors who want to go straight to the source. I really respect that. If you want this information daily, but don't want to do the downloading, counting, and tracking yourself, my patrons on Patreon and channel members right here on YouTube have 24/7 access to these dashboards, and they get updated before every market open by me, by hand. I do that because I really believe that I'm adding value, and that using data to drive my research and my investments instead of my gut leads to better habits and better results. After all, better information today means better investments tomorrow. And this is the best way I know how to get that information directly to you. Until next time, this is ticker symbol U. My name is Alex, reminding you that the best investment you can make is in you.